Hi newbies, Natasha Pittman, founder of Newbie 101 here with part 2 of how to make a really good lesson plan. Now if you have not seen part 1, then take a moment, go over to our site newbie101.org under training for months 1 through 3 and go ahead and catch up and take a peek at how to make a good lesson plan part 1. That way you'll be all caught up on all the key components that make up a really good lesson plan. So assuming that you've already done that, you're already aware of the components, or you've already downloaded the template and you have a pretty good understanding of all the key components, this particular video I will go step by step with a 3rd grade math common core standard in showing how to use the template to create a really good lesson plan that will best suit you and your students. All right, so here we are with the actual template. The first thing we'll do is indicate the subject, which in this case is math. We're going to skip the lesson title component today and go straight to the standard. The standard for this one was, I believe, NBT A2, which is a 3rd grade math common core standard. That particular standard talks about being able to add and subtract within 1,000. All right, now we are going to move down to the lesson objective. I talked a lot about long-term versus short-term lesson objectives in first part. So our long-term objective for this lesson is to ensure strong mathematical computational performance on year-end standardized tests. So that's what we're going to just jot down here. And once we have gotten that taken care of, we're going to go ahead and move down to our short-term objective. Our short-term objective, which starts out with students will be able to, or SWBAT, students will be able to add and subtract within 1,000. So once we've gotten that taken care of, we can move down to our rationale, kind of our why we want to teach them this. We talked about that in the first video as well. And again, the reason that we're taking the time to kind of go over this is to, to ensure just really strong performance on the math section of any year-end performance test. So to make sure that the children are strong with that, we want to make sure to review this particular standard. All right, so now we are going to move into the next section, which is engagement. How are we going to engage the kids, right? So the way we're going to engage them for this particular lesson is we'll do an opening scenario of a mom in an ice cream shop. And of course I drew my little ice cream on there to remind me about what we're talking about. And the mom is trying to figure out how much to pay for 2 scoops of ice cream. So she's got one that's like $1.12, and she's got a second one. We'll make that $2.63. All right. So over here, I will write 1, 1, 2, and 2, 6, 3. And then what we're going to do once we've jotted all of that down is, in addition to drawing our line, just kind of put an arrow because we're going to show the kids how to add downward each column from right to left in order to come up with our answer. And then, of course, we go back in, add our decimals, show that we're bringing the decimals down, and that we're also bringing our dollar signs down. But that at its basis, in order to come up with a sum, we had to be able to add within 1,000. All right. So now for our exploration component, we're going to continue direct instruction of 3-digit numbers. Now that the children have had direct instruction and know the proper way to set up a problem where you have 2 3-digit numbers you want to add, now it's time for guided practice. Guided practice is where the children are exploring the concept by actually being able to work it out and work out some sample problems. This would be them working on the problems with assistance, of course, if they get stuck, right? Okay. And then just prior to moving into the last phase explanation, we want them to practice independently. So we want to put independent practice on our lesson plan. So that's where they're moving from working out a problem with your assistance to working independently. And then, of course, explanation, them being able to explain why a question was correct or incorrect, why they were able to get the answer that they got, to show they really understand the concepts. All right, so now it's time for either extension for your children that've got it and need to move on, or extra help. At this point, we're assuming that there may be some children that during the guided practice groups or the independent practice may need extra help with that particular skill, so you're going to form another group of those children that need additional help and maybe work with them. Of course, a great extension idea is you could have those who've got adding 3 digits down, you could have them add up to 5 or 6 at a time. All right, and now it's time for evaluation. How are you going to be able to tell if the children really understood what it is you were trying to teach? So you would get into assessment methods, and that's it. So what do you do when the video's over but you still need more information? That's easy. Introducing Newbie, a resource for new and developing teachers. This is the book that I wish that I had during my first few years in the classroom, and it's jam-packed with all of the information that people won't tell you but that you need to know. Imagine information in one place on how to develop effective lesson plans, complete with lesson planning templates, samples, and examples that you can use right away. But not only that, Newbie also has information on specific behavior management strategies that you can put into place right away. And it has lots of other helpful information, including information you won't find anywhere else, like how to develop an ideal class culture, or information on organization and on time management, something that is really key during your first few years on the job. But supplies are limited, so take advantage of this opportunity and order now. Your kids will sure be glad that you did.